It's fabric haul time. So while I was up in Massachusetts, I visited a handful of shops. I have promised everybody a bit of a fabric haul of what I did. I think this is going to end up being 2 videos. The first video is going to be a fabric haul shop by shop, which is this one. And the second video I'm going to do is going to be a pattern haul. I'm going to separate the pattern haul into a separate video because I don't have them separated shop by shop or from where I got them. So this is going to be the easiest way to do the different haul videos. So the first shop that we went to was Joann's. I know, the big box stores usually aren't places that you're going to consider getting a haul from, but we ended up there somehow. I don't remember why. Maybe my sister needed to get something there, or we were just wasting time. I really forget. So I was going through their novelties because if there's anything that I love Joann's for is their novelty prints. They have a wide selection of novelties, and you can find just about everything. And the novelties that they have, they are very fun to work with. The first novelty that I have is this rainbow swirly what you do hickey. I just loved the rainbow fabrics. It looks bright and cheery. This might be something awesome for a kid's backing of a quilt. So we will see what ends up happening with this. Continuing on the rainbow theme, I have this. It's kind of like a rainbow braid. I just saw this and I fell in love with it. So I had to have me some of it. So I ended up getting some of this. But I will tell you, my favorite thing that I got from Joann's was this fabric. I am a huge I Love Lucy fan. And when I saw this in the in the shop, I was like, I need a bunch of this. So I grabbed a couple yards of this. I love it to pieces. Just the different scenes that you see Lucy and Ricky just in various areas, and it's just wonderful. I don't know any other way to describe it. So that is definitely my favorite from the Joann's haul. So the next shop that we went to was Bayberry Quilts in Chicopee, Massachusetts. They are one of my favorite shops up there because they do kits, and as part of their kits, they include the backing. The plus side of that is you don't have to sit and find a separate purchase for the backing. If you buy a kit, at one point you don't have to say, oh cripes, I forgot to buy the backing. So you're not scrambling trying to find something if you're lucky from the same fabric line, or trying to find something that might match. That's been my favorite because I can't tell you how many kits I have purchased and not had backings to. The downside with their backing method is they don't include what is considered the traditional amount for the backing. When a pattern says this is how much backing you need, usually it gives you enough so that you can fit it onto your project, but there's always going to be a lot of extra width because you can't control the width of the fabric. The way that they do it is they have a setup where they figure out how much it is, and their preferred method of quilting is to just barely go off the edges of the quilt and then take, I think they described it as you take a yardstick and trim that far away from the edge of the quilt and do a double fold, and so the backing as a binding, kind of like self-binding it. I'm not a fan of that method. Well, I can't say I'm not a fan of that method. I've not done that method, so And I love just the way that I do my binding. Sometimes I use the same fabric for binding as backing. Sometimes I do the same binding as borders. Sometimes I just do completely different. So that was a lesson learned that I did last year when I started with the trucks quilt that I showed back then. When I started to get the backing put together, I could not figure out how to get binding strips from it. So I was in a little bit of a pickle. Luckily, my local quilt shop had binding strips. Anyway, back to Bayberry. I did buy a couple kits, and I made sure that I bought extra fabric for what they called the backing, so that I could use that as either real backing that I like or real binding, just because I like to keep them a little bit separate. The first kit that I got was this. This is going to be, I forget what the it's one of the I think it's an Eleanor Burns 3-yard quilt pattern, or it's a 3-yard quilt pattern. So let me see if I can figure out how to do this. These are the fabrics that are in there. And oh, there is a piece of paper. Oh, that the piece of paper is their modified instructions. In fact, let me hold this so that you can see. This is basically what it's going to turn out to be. It came with the book and everything with this, so but I like the fact that they put the fabrics on the bottom of that piece of paper. So this was kit number 1. And I also bought fabric for the backing, binding, whatever it is, just to make sure that I have enough, because like I said, I've been bit. I liked that pattern enough that I had them kit me up a separate one. And because these are separate fabrics, I can show them individually. We have this really gorgeous purple and dark batiks. We have a lighter purple that came in here. And I'm noticing that my colors are just a little bit off on the screen, so I will fix that at some point in the future, but hopefully you get the idea. This is a kind of a whitish with some hints of blue batik. And we have this dark teal, almost a green. And then for the backing and binding, this gorgeous teal. I think this is the one that I saw first, and I said that I really love it. Let me see if I could change my light color a little bit. That didn't help. That definitely didn't help. It's not really working. I'll figure out a way to figure out the colors and the lights later. So that is number 2. And then number 3 that I found was this gorgeous baby quilt. It's got bees, and that is like little green dots. It has a panel in here of frogs. There's a white on white with twirls. There's a panel which you got a sneak peek at. I don't want to pull this apart yet. Looks like I can pull the pattern out, and it's the front, so I can show this. That's what it's going to be. I saw this in the shop and I was like, that is just gorgeous for a baby quilt. So we will see who the lucky person to get this will be. And like before, I bought extra of what would be the backing / binding, just so that I knew that I would have enough. And while we were there, my sister saw these table runners, and she has become a huge fan of table runners in recent times. So she was like, you should make me a table runner. They were advertised as 10-minute table runners. And they were $12. They were just basically 2 cuts of fabric. And I jokingly said, if I can't make this in 10 minutes, do I get a refund? So Fran started picking out various fabrics, or I'm sorry, not fabrics, the table runners that she liked. And at first it just became she wanted a table runner. Then she wanted a table runner for all seasons, or for each season, I should say. Then it came to be the seasons were seemed closer to be holidays. So she's like, well, I want one for holidays as well. And then it spread to she wants one for every month. So we were going through and she found a handful of them that we liked at Bayberry. And then, as you will see as we continue with the shops, the cuts continued. So these are the 2 fabrics for one of the table runners that she wanted. The next one is here. I guess she got a double Halloween instance somehow. Not certain how. For St. Patrick's Day, she picked these 2 fabrics. And then I guess this looks like it's probably her 4th of July one. As I pull it up, she wanted these 2 fabrics. I will do a demo on how to do the table runner since I'm probably going to be making about a dozen of them for her. I'm her personal sweatshop when it comes to table runners for that. But I believe that was everything that I grabbed at Bayberry Quilts over in Chicopee, Massachusetts. So the third shop that we went to was called the Yellow Quilt Shop in Southampton, Massachusetts. My sister found this one sometime last summer. She drove by it and she asked me if I had been to that one yet, and I said that I hadn't heard of it. We were sitting there talking with the owner and found out that they had just moved in sometime just over a year ago. It used to be a bicycle shop where they're located. And it was a small shop, but they had some gorgeous fabrics. There was one section that I was kind of drawn to, and it had these fabrics. I can tell you that these are from Free Spirit. I don't see a designer on them. Wait. I'm sorry. Adrienne Leban. Probably pronounced that wrong. And it is called the Spirit to Create is the fabric line. So there is this. When I saw this on the line, I think this is the one that I saw. I said I needed to have some of this. I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet, but I need some. This is one of the other prints with it. It looks very similar, just different colored, lots of white space in this. I feel like I want to go in there with a marker and color in all of the white. Yet another print. This one is just all the reds and just loved it. This one is blues. And this one just, I was like, yeah, I got to figure out what I'm going to do with it. Not certain what. And then finally, I got a whole bunch of this print. I know a lot of it, it makes me feel like I want to just have a little bit psychedelic stuff. I told my sister it almost reminds me of Marble Madness growing up as a kid to play on the game consoles. So, not certain what I'm going to do with it yet. I have enough yardage that I can do something pretty cool with it. And while we were also going through it, I found these gorgeous baby prints that I don't know what I'm going to do with yet, but there are people in the neighborhood having babies soon. So maybe I will find something really awesome to do with them for that. And then this final one. So maybe I'll come up with like a 3-yard quilt for them because I think I bought a yard of each of them. And then we go back to my sister and her table runners. So we have, I'll do it this way. This one for Valentine's Day, or as I love to call it, Singles Awareness Day, or SAD for short. And then we have this one, which I believe is for her Thanksgiving one. So we've got a good portion of the seasons and holidays taken care of with her table runners that she wants. So we will see how far I get with them at what point, because like I said, I'm her personal sweatshop for that. So that concludes the Yellow Quilt Shop in Southampton, Massachusetts. The third shop that we went to was Valley Fabrics in Northampton, Massachusetts. I just at that time, and I just remember when I walked in, I looked at just around the floor and said, I love this shop. They have a lot of brights and they have a lot of fun fabrics. They had like tulip pink front and center because that would be just, great fabrics for that area of town. We will start with the fabrics that my sister picked out for more table runners. We have this pair of fabrics, which I think is her generic summer, maybe. That's what it kind of feels like. I think that might be her month of August, if I remember correctly. And then we have what I think is her generic winter. And if I can get it to focus, it is a white on white. There is snowflakes in there. Yeah, you can kind of see those, I hope. It's just when I get, oh, that's a good angle that you can see the snowflakes. And then I love this shade of whatever fabric it is. I thought it was grunge, but no, it's from Wyndham, so it's not grunge, it's grunge like. So those are her table runners that we will be making. And the one thing that I really loved about Valley was they had an enormous table of nothing but 1 yard cuts. It made it pretty easy because if you were just looking for a 1 yard cut of fabric, you didn't have to sit and wait for them to do the slice. I mean, they were fairly quick in doing the cuts and everything, but sometimes you just want to get in, get out. And there was stuff on that 1 yard pile that I didn't see on bolts. It could just be because I had so many bolts that I just wasn't paying attention. So the 1 yard cuts that I got, first is this gorgeous rainbow, looks like squares of swirls. I just thought that was gorgeous. And then this was a lot of fun when I saw it, so I knew I had to have some of that. And then I don't remember why I liked this one. It was just bright and colorful. Now that I'm looking at it, it looks like there's eyes in the middle of it and stuff like that. So just a little strange, but like I said, just the colors are gorgeous. And then I kind of went on a little bit of an Alison glass trip. We have this one, which I think is one of the Alison glass lines. Maybe not. It says Lucky. Oh, this is binding. Let's come back to that. There's this fabric, which I really loved. And then I definitely know that this is Alison glass. And this fabric, which just gorgeous. And then, oops, this one just, I love her patterns and her colors. And this gorgeous yellow. And then more of this, just gorgeous colors. And then I had to go with a bright. And then to balance out all those brights, I got this, it's like a gray on white with some purple accents in there. And then this one is definitely a gray on white. So while I was out browsing the fabric, somebody had come in and they showed this gorgeous quilt, which I learned was the block of the month that they did back in 2021. I guess it was a virtual block of the month because we were still under a lot of those restrictions. And I had asked about it, and they showed it to me, and I got this giant pizza box. Inside are all of these gorgeous fabrics that you can see that are part of the block of the month. Instead of trying to show the top of the box, this is the finished block of the month. Oop, so I thought that this was very gorgeous. Like when I saw this, they're calling it chain blocks. So I will have a lot of fun putting this together at some point. I did ask about the details of the block of the month, and that's when I found out that their program did not include binding nor backing. So this, as you saw earlier, is the binding that I chose. It matches the fabrics that are in there. And then I chose this for the backing. So I think that will look super awesome on the back of this quilt. So that was Valley Fabrics. I had a lot of fun in there. I probably could have spent a lot more time in there if I could, but we were on a little bit of time crunch that day because that was the day that we headed up north to get our tattoos. The final shop that I got to go to was called the Quilted Ewe, as in sheep, not as in you. It was in New Hartford, Connecticut. It was about an hour drive from where my sister lives. Totally worth it when we got down there. They are in a looks like it's like an old factory building that was converted into shop space. They have a really large square foot shop, and they had a classroom area in the back. They had a couple long arms out there. It was just a lot of everything. So let's start with the last couple of my sisters, table runners. She wanted a birthday table runner. She made a comment that she wants one for everybody's birthday to be put out on their birthday. But right now we just have a generic one for her. And then I believe this is generic spring, maybe. I'll have to just confirm her that I have the pairs put together properly before I start making them because I don't want to accidentally put two together that aren't right. Then while I was there, a lot of their fabrics, they didn't seem to jump out at me. They had gorgeous stuff, a lot of stuff that I can't get here. But like I said, not a lot of it really spoke to me except for the stuff that I can get here. And my goal really wasn't to buy fabric that I can get here. But then there was this one line. You're going to say, Russ, you're a broken record when you see this, but I just had to get one of everything. So we will start with the red, and then it's kind of an orange, and then working towards almost a yellow. This is a gorgeous lime. I really love this one. Uh, a bright green, which again, I got to figure out how to get my color lighting to be a little bit better. Uh, Almost like a teal. Uh, what I'm seeing on the screen is not quite. It's brighter than what I expect to see. This gorgeous blue, a purple, which I find it amusing that I'm seeing different colors in the light. And I'm going to call this more of a like a violet. I really need to learn my color theory because I get mixed up with colors all the time. So those I got. And then the row by row experience had just started. And years back, I was trying to get everybody's row by row because it just helps support the shop. And one day I want to make a quilt with the rows that I have collected over the years. They did this as their row by row. It looks like it's, I guess, swimming sheep because, you know, the Quilted Ewe. So this is going to be a lot of fun. It's applique. So I'm not exactly versed in applique. It doesn't terrify me, but my ability to cut for applique is what terrifies me. And then, as I said before, I'm not big on buying stuff that I can buy here. And that's really why I think I bought this kit. It is, I bought yardage online because none of my shops locally were carrying this line. And when the line was announced, I saw this kit advertised, and I was like, I don't know. It's a maybe. I kind of like it, but I kind of don't. When I saw it in the shop and I had already played with the fabrics, I was like, I think I really want it. So I bought Maureen McCormick's Flower Power quilt kit. It looks like a lot of fun. Like I said, I was just iffy and iffy, but now I'm like, I really, really want it. And it was on sale for a pretty good price. And then I bought backing to go with it. So that was the Quilted Ewe in New Hartford, Connecticut. So you're probably thinking, Russ, how much did you spend? I don't want to go there. I was on vacation. I had set aside a budget to spend at quilt shops because, like I said, I know there's a lot of stuff that they have up there that they don't have down here. On the flip side, there's stuff we have down here that they don't have up there. And that kind of would terrify me for the idea of moving back up there. They don't carry anything Camille Roskelley that I saw in any of the shops, which is a huge disappointment for me because I love her stuff. And I'm sure everybody knows that Nantucket Summer was one of her fabric lines last year, and New England. So you would think that that would be the case, but I did not see anything explicitly Camille Roskelley. I even, you know, asked in passing, I'm like, do you guys carry? And they were like, no. And in a couple cases, we got, who's she? Disturbing. And nobody carried Lori Holt. I'm not a big on Lori Holt that I have to have everything that she has, but there's a lot of her stuff that, you know, I just love working with, and her patterns are gorgeous. And because I want a touchy feely before I buy. There is that whole idea that I prefer to shop in person than online. I have purchased some stuff online because either my local shop isn't carrying the whole thing, or uh, they're not carrying any of it, and I just really want it. So I've done that, but it's really only with designers and manufacturers that I know and trust. I would have loved to take pictures in the shops, but all the shops had signs that said no photography. And I don't care if I'm trying to do it as advertisement for them or trying to give them some support. If a shop tells me no photography, I'm going to do no photography. I understand that the main reason is probably to keep people from looking at the fabrics in the shop and then trying to buy a better price online. Again, that's not something I do. That would definitely not have been my intent, but I obey the rules. And honestly, in most cases, you're not going to find fabric cheaper online, mostly because, online you have to cut in usually quarter yard increments. And if you need a third of a yard, you're going to have to round up to the next increment of a quarter, which causes you to end up spending more money. uh, and then I understand, like, you can do that, and maybe you find that everything that you need is in full yard increments, but then you have to pay for shipping unless you're at a free shipping balance on your online order, and then you have to sit and wait for it. That is one thing that I hate doing. Even though I may not intend to work with the fabric immediately, I want my fabric now. And then I don't have to worry about if something got miscut or if something didn't quite look as I expect. I get to see that in person. So I would have loved to take some photos or like video clips, but like I said, they have no camera policy, and that's what I was going to fully obey. The favorite thing of everything that I bought, I think, is going to be this block of the month. I've seen it in person, the finished product, and it is gorgeous. And I believe we did the math. I think they said it was 80 by 90. So it is just barely going to fit on my long arm, so I don't have to worry about sending it off. That was the other thing that helped solidify my decision, because I said, how big is it? I need to know so I can know if I can fit on my long arm. I probably still would have bought it if I couldn't fit it on the long arm, but at least with knowing that I could, that helped solidify the fact that I really, really wanted it. So that is the fabric haul that I had in New England while I was up there. There was a couple shops that we had heard of that we didn't get a chance to go run to, just because of all the other stuff that we were doing throughout the handful of days that I was up there. 12 days. And I only did four and a half shops because I don't want to call that big box a full shop. But like I said, I had fun with friends, I had fun with family, so there was all kinds of stuff. Hopefully, I will hit a couple of the other shops next time I am up there. So that is the fabric haul, and I will do a separate video on the pattern haul. So until next time, stay happy and keep stitching.